Welcome back, Addicts, to another show review. Today we're going to be talking about the new anime, Caligula, that just got done airing, so we're trying to get this out real fast. But to give you guys kind of an idea of the story, I'm going to let Colton go at it.
So, The Matrix. So basically, just to give you like a little bit of an overview of what Caligula is, think of it as kind of like a Matrix, but with more of a, I guess you could say a musical kind of theme, because the two kind of clashing factions are like supposed to be like musician kind of characters.
Yeah.
So give or take, but it was really good.
Keep in mind they don't do a musical battle, but there's like Colton said, it's more of like a theme.
Yeah, it's more of like a theme. I wish there was a music battle. I'd pay to see that.
Yeah, it came close in one episode, I guess. Going into some of the characters, there's two main groups in the show, like Colton was saying. There are the Go Home Club, and then there's also just labeled the musicians. The Go Home Club is basically the good group. They're people that figure out that they're in the simulation, and so they want to get back into reality. They're the kind of the person that brings them all together is actually an AI that is called Area, and she is one of the two AIs that basically used to run and currently run the simulation. But in the Go Home Club, we have a lot of characters. I'm not going to talk about them all in depth because they go into their backstory more later in the show, and that's not something we want to spoil here. But to kind of just go in it point by point, we have Shogo, who is the one who is told by Area to bring about all of the other members. And so he's kind of the first member in the Go Home Club.
And not only that, but he's also like the very first one to figure out he's in a simulation after having a bunch of terrible stuff happen to him in the simulation.
Yeah. And then the second person that's brought into the club, which is probably the biggest role model for the club, is Ritsu, which everybody calls him just Mr. President because they designate him the leader. Then we have some other people. We have Kotono, Mary, Izuri, Kataro, Misfu, and Naroko, and Suzusan, which I'm sorry, I'm terrible at pronouncing Japanese names.
It's fine, so am I. I think anyone that's not from America is terrible at pronouncing like Japanese, Chinese names, but
which, getting on the flip side of the Go Home Club, we have the musicians, which are they kind of have that student council antagonist kind of vibe. They are their leader is called Thorn, which you'll find out more about her later. And then we have Tomoya, Kenzuke, Miri, Shadow Knife, the Shonen Dolls, Sweet Pea. And also, Mew is technically on the musician's side, but she is the other AI that's currently controlling everything.
Yeah, I think like from watching the anime, I would say that she's kind of like a neutral character.
Yeah. Who's
brought to one side not because she wants to be there, but more because
she's manipulated.
Yeah.
In a sense.
She's manipulated to think that they're the ones who want all the good things.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like underlyings of like AI in like terms of like their programming and then how they actually operate. The musical aspect that Colton was talking about is specifically from Mew because she sings. That's like one of her things is she thinks that bringing she's programmed to bring happiness to everybody. And that's kind of the reason why everybody comes to movies, because they all have terrible backstories. They come from a damaged background. And so she believes that music is one of the things that will make people happy. And so that's where a lot of that comes from, which, getting into some of our personal highlights and stuff like that, that was one of the things that I actually really liked about the show. Not only is their opening really good, and I do like it, but the music just throughout the anime is really entertaining, and it's really subtle, because if you actually it's really hard for like somebody that only speaks English to read both subtitles as they're going along the screen, but if you actually read her lyrics, it changes depending on like the atmosphere of emotions that's going on in the moment. So if somebody is angry or like upset, then that's how she starts singing. Or if she's trying to bring joy to everybody, that's how it is.
Yep.
But then that was kind of a cool aspect.
I also really like how they kind of used her music as a way to show the battles.
Yeah.
Because they really had her always singing during those battles, and I was surprised how well it worked, because she was supposed to be this kind of calming person, this person who like just sang kind of about love and peace and happiness and all those rosy colored things. But they made it work for battles, and I was just surprised.
Yeah, it's like one of those when you start hearing the music beat up and for like a fight, and you're like, "Oh man, that's getting me really pumped." It's like that, but like it even takes it a step further because it has lyrics and it has meaning behind them. And like Colton said, the battles in this are really good. There's a lot of unique characters too. They have a big cast. It's more of an ensemble cast. So there is a protagonist, but it follows a lot of the characters, and it doesn't spend too much time on one. Maybe the only time you could say that is maybe towards the ending when they start.
Specifically like the last, specifically like the second to last episode really focuses on the protagonist, but other than that, like Josh said, it really doesn't focus on one character for too long. It either focuses on, well, I take that back. It's probably like the third episode they kind of do the same thing with can't even remember the character's name off the top of my head, but I think it was Susanna is who they focus on during that point. But
when they go into the library.
Yeah,
and this isn't just for like the main cast in the Go Home Club. It's also for the antagonist musicians, because they each have their own backstories. And when you're kind of it's maybe not so much as soon as you're introduced to them, but when you start seeing them more in solo episodes, you'll see more of their backstory while things are going on in the present. Which that was the main highlights for me. I would say some favorite moments was definitely the interactions with Mew, because those are really intriguing, because she has this pre-programmed mindset, but you kind of see her break down because she's trying to see if she can decide for herself, and then it's kind of like she was told one thing, but they're now saying something else, and so it's kind of tearing her apart. And those are really interesting. I think the very first big battle when everybody's there, that's probably one of my favorite parts. But the ending definitely leaves you on the edge of your seat in terms of like what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, like you kind of understand what happens, but you kind of want to see more, especially considering like how everyone sort of feels towards the end of the season, which I'm going to call it a season because this is just me speculating, but there might be another part. You never know.
There could be. They definitely left it open for that. The ending was something that I did enjoy. I thought the plot ended in a well-rounded way. The only thing I wish they would have done more of was kind of show us a little bit more of each character when the events end. But at the same time, I understand why they did it, and I was happy because I felt relieved that they didn't, overboard it like a lot of shows do. And so it had a good balance, but it still leaves you open to want more if they come back for another season.
And just to give a little backstories on this kind of series, is that it started off with a video game called the Caligula Effect. Then it went from the Caligula Effect to the anime Caligula, which kind of was based off the Caligula Effect's events, from my understanding of reading Wikipedia and the fandom stuff. The website didn't really help. And then there's another one that's out on PS4, at least in Japan right now, called the Caligula Effect Overdose. So I'm excited to get that game and see where that goes.
Yeah, it looks really good. I'm curious to see if it expands on the show at all, or if it's just still before the events of the show take out, or if it's completely separate. But yeah, I would definitely look out for that if you're interested in it. But I kind of want to talk about our recommendations. Cole, how would you recommend this, to certain viewers, or just in general? Was it good? Was it not good?
I thought it was really good personally. I would suggest this to a lot of people. I will say, if you're not someone if you're someone who specifically likes action and doesn't like some, slice of life kind of stuff in there, you might not like it as much. Or if you're someone who specifically likes a slice of life, but you don't really like violence in your animes, you might not like it. But if you're someone who can find that nice little balance, this anime, I think, is for you. And I think it'd be a good anime for people to start off with, honestly. I mean, the plot can be a bit difficult to follow at times, but other than that, I mean, I thought it was really good, and I liked how the end kind of wrapped everything together into a nice little bow.
Yeah. I would definitely say, yeah, it's a good anime. It's one of those that probably didn't rank in my favorites, but it definitely was above average for me. There's, I would say, a lot of components that I think everybody can like. Like Colton said, there is some more personal moments that they talk more about the individual characters themselves rather than focusing on maybe the main plot or the tasks at hand. But I didn't think any of these had more attention than the other. It was very well balanced. And as far as who would probably be able to view this, I think pretty much anyone. Maybe some younger audiences wouldn't get some of the themes because it does. A lot of the characters do have problems that maybe they couldn't grasp if they weren't old enough. I would definitely recommend this. It was a good anime. I would probably rate it a solid 6.5, probably out of 10.
I would definitely agree with the IMDb rating of 6.2 out of 10. I thought it was good. Yeah, I can see where they came up with that, and I agree with it.
Yeah, and that's just, and I mean, I think anything probably above a 5 is worth at least checking out.
Yep.
So giving it a higher score than that, you can kind of conclude on how well we liked it. But that's all I have to say about it. You guys go check it out if you're interested. If you like The Matrix and kind of that am I here, am I not here type thing, I think you guys will like it, so you should check it out.
Yep.
But anyway, guys, that will conclude our video, and we'll see you guys next time. Later, Addicts.